efforts and how you started and where you've come. So Mitch, you've been here the shortest period of time. So tell us kind of where you are in attracting and how you focused on it.
Sure. So I moved over to brokerage with 40 agents in June 1st, so I had a little advantage as far as the startup. But I also went to another company, so I literally spent 1 hour a week doing it. Started bringing on people in September of last year, and we're just about 350 people right now.
Woo!
Scott, how about you?
So Tracy and I really started focusing on attraction in January of 2016 after going to our first convention in Las Vegas. And we, between the two of us, we've attracted 95 personals, I think. And
amazing.
We have just shy of 3,000 agents now on our team.
Woo!
So for some perspective, that's more people than are in this room right now. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? All right, Rob.
Here we go.
So I personally attracted 60. My goal was 2 a month personally. Of those 60, 45 are with the company. And those 45 have brought now, in the first 7 levels, about 7,000. And there's about 4,500 to 5,000 after my 7th level. So when people say, what's your team? It's real close to 12,000.
One of which is Scott, so kind of helped, right?
Kind of helped.
That's how it works, right? Bring the right people, they help attract the right people. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about some of the pros and cons, because we know that as we're out there talking about what an awesome company we are, there are objections, and sometimes we spend time trying to convince people to join us. Do we need to do that? But there are legitimate objections sometimes. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you are encountering out there when you're speaking with people that might prevent them from coming, or things that you have to overcome that you think out there is a perception of us. Mitch, you want to start?
Yeah, there's only a couple of things. I don't really get that many objections anymore. Of course, they're all attracted to me because I'm so damn cute. Yeah. We're like cute together too, right? She's like 4 feet, I'm 5 feet, so. Sorry guys.
You two look good over there.
So I would say there's 2 things I get a lot. One is office space. I hear that all the time. That's an easy answer for me because I have 2 offices still. And the other one is dealing with the misinformation from other companies, what they say about us. And those are easy to overcome. Those are the 2 that I get the most.
So misinformation-wise, is it just out of ignorance, out of fear, that they're hearing things from other companies that just plain aren't true?
Yeah, everything that they've told me that they were told was not true.
Yep.
One thing I hear all the time is, well, you don't really get rev share unless they cap. I hear it all the time. Yeah, I'm saying, well, no, you get referral fees from your first transaction. It's great.
That's right.
Okay, that's awesome, and I think that is part of the perception of us. People don't know what to do with us, right? They're learning now very, very quickly as we've grown so much this year, and they are becoming educated, other companies, other people, on what we do here. But when you hear the misinformation that's out there and the amount of things that are easily correctable, it's almost like a gimme, because that's what they're thinking happens here. So when you clear that roadblock, because you can, because that's not how we do things here, is it easier at that point? Is it,
Yeah, I mean, to me it's easy. I just don't find this difficult. We have a great company. We have like the best company in the world, right? It's amazing.
Woo!
And it took me 2 years to actually say yes, because I was a broker with 48, 115 at the time, and I'm successful, and I've got the ego thing. And so when I talk to people,
that's so rare in real estate.
and then I realized I'm still only 5'6", but and with no hair. I mean, I looked like this, so I had to do something better besides modeling. But it just became really easy to help people, and that's my entire message. Is I'm just trying to help you.
Woo!
If you don't want me to help you, you will in a year, and we'll talk then. So.
Awesome.
How about you, Scott? What are some of the objections that you hear out there?
You know, Mitch is right. There's a lot of misinformation out there about EXP, and so when I hear objections, to me it's not an objection. First of all, in my mind, it's an opportunity. Just the sheer fact that they're willing to express an objection to me means that maybe there's a chance they're open-minded. And so...
So you're telling me there's a chance?
That's right. And so my only goal really is, like you said, to educate them, to get them to see it, you know. And so there's a variety of ways they can see the opportunity. And so, you know, it's just simply, wouldn't you really like to know the truth about EXP? And it's not really a recruiting effort. It's not an attraction effort. It's an educational effort, an opportunity, because I know that if they see it, I don't know where Jay Kinder is, but once they see it, they can't unsee it, right? And so I love that line. That's my favorite line. So that's really my only goal, is to get them to see it. At that point, it's in their court.
Okay, Rob, how about you?
Well, I can tell you, when I'm out there looking for people and talking to people, I'm really looking for people with a great attitude. And I'm looking for people, I tell this all the time, I'm looking for people who are looking for us. And so when I hear objections from people, it generally depends on how much they're looking for us. The one thing I've heard lately with disinformation is that it's onboarding is very difficult and time consuming, and you're going to lose business in that transition. And but that's really simple to overcome, because we say if you do it right with the new things that we're doing, yes, we had some situations 2-3 years ago, you know, but Sears used to be just a watch company. And now they have, you know, all different kinds of things. And Nordstrom used to just be a shoe company. It's changed. The only reason why you hear that we have problems is because all the people that heard about the early Sears problems are all dead. Because it's been so long ago, right? And so what I say is, yes, that was a problem. It was a situation. But we have super talented people now that are coming on. We're expanding the different options that agents have. We're getting better as we go. We didn't know that thousands and thousands would come so fast. So we were unprepared for that. Now we're ready, and things are a lot better. And we'll probably still have things go on in the future. No big deal. We will attach them when we need to, and we'll just get it done. So when I look at it now, is I'm looking for people with a really great attitude, somebody that has really super great energy, and somebody who wants to improve where they're at, and someone who's coachable and teachable. And if I can find that, they're all about it. If it's not, then they just haven't felt enough pain yet where they are. And I'm looking for their pain factor. Once they've had enough pain, they'll start, you know, just like with your tooth. You don't go see the dentist, but if there's enough pain, you'll go to the dentist, right? Same thing here. Not a problem.
So I want to hitch on the onboarding question for a second, because we do get that a lot also internally with attraction and with people coming on board. There's a lot of misperception out there with the amount of time it takes to onboard. And I got here about 14 months ago. When I got here, I'm an agent too, so I was onboarded. It was taking 18 days to put 25 to 50 people in our systems a week. It was a long time. And today, I'm proud to say, it takes 3 to 5 days, and we process between about 250 and 300 people a week across 50 states, right? Almost 400 MLSs.
Wow.
And in a standardized uniform process and system. So right there, if you're hearing those objections, and you're speaking with people who say, well, my company says we're going to lose all this business because you can't get us in on time. If you go through the process of onboarding, please feel free to come into the world and talk to the onboarding team so you know how it works. It really doesn't take that long at all, and it's very streamlined. And even getting better, Scott, I think, might have mentioned earlier how we're streamlining that process within enterprise as well.
Can I add one thing just to that? I've seen that difference dramatically. Because this last month, I have between 500 and 600 agents join my 7 levels every month. And this last month we generally have between 900 and 1,000 joining between the first 7 and beyond. About 500. This last month, 620 that came on in the last 30 days in the first 7. And I didn't hear anything from any of the people. In other words, my phone wasn't ringing. It's taking really long. It went smooth, and that's the most I've had in any one single month. So my hat's off to what you're doing.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of work, but we're doing it for you so we can get more people in your lines and help you attract more and help you build your business.
And on top of that, I think it really, the onus comes back to us as agents ultimately. I mean, this is our company, right? And so, and the processes keep changing and updating and getting better. We've seen a lot of that, and so I always encourage the sponsor, make sure you're up to date with the processes, so because ultimately it is our responsibility to help that agent have a great experience in the onboarding. So the communication needs to be there when they're in that process.
And I think you guys have made it so simple recently with that explore.exprealty.com.
Absolutely, that's
It's
awesome.
probably the best thing I have seen
Can
come
we
out.
put
It's
the
unbelievable.
Explore
It's
guide up?
unbelievable
Thank
what it
you.
does. Yeah, it's really.
I would
And
just
that answers the
Place to
questions
point everyone.
that we get asked. We were getting hundreds and hundreds of phone calls. We don't get them now. We send them to here. It answers literally 95% of all the calls that I've been getting in the past. It's made my life really wonderful.
And it's
Not that
updated
it's not bad,
all
it's
the
really
time with the most recent information, you guys. So definitely use it for attraction. It's got its own attraction tab. All of the materials you use, we have the presentations there for you, frequently asked questions on attraction. We have top 10 tips. We have the pledge there. We have the certification video and course and quiz you take to get certified in attraction. So it's all there, and it's part of the entire Explore EXP guide. It's a tab itself, but of course the rest of the guide is filled with information.
I just add on that thing is I'm an expectations guy. I set expectations for everybody I talk to and everything I want to accomplish. And I learned a long time ago, if I set the expectations here and it comes here, I win. So when I talk to people on onboarding, I say, look, it could take up to 10 days. Be prepared for that. I don't hear people complain about anything. So I set that expectation. If you don't set that expectation, they expect a typical brokerage. You come to my brokerage I had, tomorrow you're onboarded. So this is not a typical brokerage because we're so much different. So you just set that expectation. It's pretty easy.
I love what you said earlier, this train's flying, that we're laying the tracks as this locomotive is flying, and what we have to all realize here is this has never been done before, ever, right? So we're creating this together.
Woo!
It's our responsibility.
Woo!
It's our responsibility to make sure that we do set those expectations and that we do communicate and we understand and we explain to those new people, guys, yes, it may be a little difficult places. We're not a perfect company. If you want perfect, then go buy a Mercedes-Benz dealership or something. I don't know. But the systems are, have not been all created yet because it is new. And that's the fun. That's the excitement. And most importantly, it's the opportunity.
And it's really important, the communications, again, we've said it a lot while we're here today. We're available, right? So even with the onboarding process, we heard loud and clear from all of you that there was not enough communication to the agent joining. So now there's auto emails that go out throughout the entire process. There's auto texts that go out that we just started in June based on your recommendations. And I ran the numbers the other day, and we had about 4,200 people receiving the auto texts since we launched it at the end of June, and only 140 opted out. So that's a lot of communication that we're getting out throughout the process, along with the emails. We do follow-up phone calls, and then you as the sponsors, of course, have an opportunity to stay in touch once you've been named, and you can always walk your agent through the remainder of the process, and then they're going to go to the agent experience department. There's Kimberly and Brad in orientation. So we listen too with what you're hearing out there. It's why I asked what some of the objections were, because that helps us build a better system for you. And that's actually where the Explore EXP guide came from, and the whole attraction tab on there for your use. All right, so some maybe objections that you overcome, but what are the things that you're hearing out there? Why are agents reaching out to you about us?
For me, it's been, and it's kind of funny because even as soon as a year and a half ago, nobody was reaching out. And now I get people inquiring on a regular basis because the buzz is out there. And so, I've heard about this. I had one woman call me the other day. She goes, I don't know anything about EXP. All I know is I'm 58 years old and I have no retirement plan, and I heard you'll give that to me.
Wow.
There's, what, $2 billion Mega Millions to play tonight for retirement, right? We can do that.
By the way, if I do win tonight, you'll never see me again.
That's good. That's hilarious.
How about you guys? What do do you hear about us that is making your phone ring, or that you're getting questions on, and how do I become a part of this?
Well, it's true. I mean, I love what Glenn says, what worked 3 years ago may not be the right thing to do today. When we had 700-800 agents, the way you approach the masses is much different than when you have our 14,000 plus agents that we have today. So I think there's a responsibility, but because you're laying the groundwork with so many people as you're building, they do come back. They are watching you. Whether they respond to you immediately or not, I have found that they are watching, and they're watching your every move, and eventually something's going to happen. They're going to get a toothache, right? And if you established with them in the beginning a want, need, or desire, and you showed them how they can accomplish that, and you show them the model of EXP, and we get it, once a week now. An agent that we've shown this to a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, now the phone is ringing, and they're saying, "Okay, I'm ready to sit down." Jonathan Dupree, a perfect example. He sent me a LinkedIn message and said, "Okay, tell me about that rev share again," right? So it's just a matter of continuing to drip on people, stay connected, and just continuing to create relationships.
Yep.
I agree, and I tell them to friend me on Facebook, just so they can watch, the life as it unfolds, and it's really, really fun. We've had a lot of people now that are calling that I talked to 2-3 years ago, and they said, "I've been watching you, I've been following you, as I said, you're either going to come join now, or you're going to sit in the bushes and watch, and you're going to watch us go, and eventually the bush is going to fall away, and now you got to decide." And it's interesting because it's lifestyle, it's relationships 100%. It's finding people that want to have a nice life, nice lifestyle. I can tell you the last 4 people that we've personally enrolled came from wine clubs that we met, that we're part of, because we're finding people that have common interests. Go do, enjoy, live life. Don't go out spearing people. I've never done that. Some people go, "I'm going to go find one of them all today." Boom! Got a good one. It's like, no, don't do that. Don't have a glass of wine. Be friendly. Everything's good. Let's say they won't tell. That's what you want. And so what I have found is, in living our life and having a lifestyle, I used to say, my mentor teaches me and has a lifestyle that I want. Who is your mentor? Who is your coach? And I said, I have one of the best coaches on the planet. And I'm looking for the lifestyle that he helps people have. And I used to have to say, my coach and mentor had this lifestyle. Now I'm able to say, I have this lifestyle. Living a residual income driven lifestyle is amazing. And I used to have that for my coach, and he was able to help me. And now I look for people that have the proper attitude, that are coachable and teachable, that want to have that same type of thing. Friend me on Facebook and just watch my life. And all I do is post pictures, and eventually they go, "Man, whatever it is you do, I want." And so it's not very difficult if you've got to care about them. You've got to know enough about them, ask enough questions. If anything, when I'm with people, I hardly say anything until they've told me everything. They tell me a lot. It's amazing what people will tell me. And then I'll find a need, want, or desire, and then I'll get back with them. I don't spear them that day. I just say, I really enjoyed meeting with you. I love talking with you. It was really great. We should get together again and talk more about real estate. And they all say, if the energy's right, "Yeah, I love that." I say, "Cool."
So it's kind of like sales.
Yeah.
Sales is
follow up and follow through and do what you say, right? And understand what tools are available for you here to use in all of those presentations. And I know you guys do lunch and learns and things out there as well, where you have a lot of groups coming in, not just about what it's like to be a realtor and do transactions and build your real estate business, because that's a huge part of why people are coming here as well, and the icon agents. And by the way, we haven't even talked about really the stock awards for being a fundamentally hard-working agent in this business, but also being able to just, like you said, Rob, talk about what it's like to be here and to be part of this giant, we keep calling it a rocket ship. It is, you guys, part of this experience.
If I can add one thing, we were talking earlier backstage, the why is probably the important thing, most important thing you can possibly do. And I always want to find out what their why is. My why is I'm a cancer survivor. And I was at this hop point game making a great deal of money and lost everything, went bankrupt, nearly died. Doctors said I would. And I'm blessed to be around, right? So my whole goal and my motivation... Thank you. My motivation from that was I wanted to develop a passive income stream so I could live full time because I didn't know how much time I had. And it wasn't rich, never was rich or wealthy. It was to be able to do something to be able to live full time. And that's what drives me. And so I didn't know, and you never know when something's going to happen to you. Where you get sick, you walk off sideways on off a sidewalk or a car. Anything happens weird, that you suddenly can't work. Where are you going to be financially? Where's your family? Do you have that prepared? Do you have a plan for that? What is your evacuation plan? And most people don't have it. And I said, well, you need to have one. And if you wouldn't be offended, I'd be happy to show you mine, which is pretty darn fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
And I feel very, very comfortable in that. And so once I found out their why, then it's very simple, because then I just called them back. And I said, you said such and such the other day, and that really hit me. I've been thinking about that. And I said, if you're serious about that, I'd like to get together and talk to you about it. If you're open, if it wouldn't offend you, I'd be happy to do that. And people are never offended to talk about their why.
So that would be your number one tip. Find out their why and explain how that can be achieved here. How about you, Scott? We've got about a minute left. What would be your number one tip for talking to people and explaining to them how they can benefit from being here as a whole?
Well, I think the most important thing as agents, is we make the attraction somewhat part of your business plan. If you are looking for an exit strategy, it could be an hour a week, it could be 4 hours a week, or whatever that is. And it's just as you're meeting people, like Rob said, it's part of your lifestyle. I see and I hear all these agents, the spam emails and the phone blasting and all these things. The truth is that stuff doesn't work. If it did work, we'd already have all the agents, right? And so it's a one-on-one relationship with other agents. And whatever it is that you do, whether it's golf or knitting or vacationing or, you have to learn to talk to people in a way that engages them. Ask great questions. Get 3 questions that you can ask anyone, and just repeat those questions over and over again. The number one thing that I found that agents do wrong is they talk way too much instead of listening.
I do that.
I do too.
I'm really bad at that.
Are you in any club, Mitch?
I'm terrible at that.
So, I think we all have the similar type of life. I've lived my entire life on contribution. I had a guy say to me that I should be, because I basically all the lead conversion stuff that people do around the country, I started 17 years ago. And they said, you should be really, really rich. I go, I am. I've helped a lot of people. And so when I'm talking to somebody, I sincerely care about them. I sincerely care that we have the opportunity to change people's lives. I got a second to tell you a quick story about it, because it's really cool. One of my agents came to me last year before we joined, and her daughter was going to college the next year. She makes $70,000 a year. She's like, what am I supposed to do? My only answer at that time was sell more houses. I had no other solution for her. When we switched, I told her to go ahead and do this. Right? Attract. She has 5 people under her. One of them was a team that won an award last night, which is great. And her revenue share this year will be around $28,500. EXP is paying for her college education.
Woo! Woo!
That's the stereotype.
And you know what? That's what Glenn envisioned when he set this program up and when he founded this company. That's what he thought, and that's what he saw. And we've been able to live out what he saw, and it just gets better every single day. So thank you all very, very much for sharing some of your stories. Rob, one more thing, hurry up.
Just one last thing. I will tell you, when you have EXP inside you, and you know what it can do for other people's families, after you're taken care of, you realize you want other people to have that same.
That's right.
And you're not selling. If you feel like you're selling, I think you're missing the point. I think you're more than sharing. I think you're blessing. And when I talk to people, I know that if they get this and if they'll plug in and they'll embrace it, the culture and the core values, literally, it'll be a tremendous blessing to their family and for generations to come. So when I talk to people, that comes through because I fully believe that's going to happen to them and that they'll be able to bless others.
You're genuine. All 3 of you are. And all of you guys are. Thank you all for all that you do to help get that word out and to build this company.
Woo!
It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Changing agents' lives, that's what it's all about. Agent ownership, EXP, let's get it.